So when you picture the Apollo 11 moon landing, what comes to mind? For most of us, it's that singular unifying moment, right? Humanity's greatest achievement, a giant leap that brought the whole world together. But the truth is, what we saw back then depended entirely on where we were standing.
And that was the official story. That's what President Nixon said in what has to be the most historic phone call ever made. It was a message of unity, of a shared human destiny, beamed from Earth to the moon and back. This was the view from the top. But on the ground, literally just outside the gates of the launch site, the view was, well, it was completely different. For so many Americans, this wasn't a moment of unity at all. It was a glaring symbol of a nation's broken promises. To really get the full story of Apollo 11, we have to look closer at this division. We've got to understand the two very different Americas that were watching it all happen. You have to remember, the late 1960s were an incredibly turbulent time. The country was being ripped apart by the war in Vietnam and just deep, deep conflicts over civil rights and poverty right here at home. So while NASA was aiming for the heavens, a lot of people felt the nation was failing right here on Earth. And that phrase, billions for the moon and pennies for the poor, it just perfectly captured the feeling on the ground. For the civil rights movement and millions of impoverished Americans, the space race wasn't some symbol of progress. No, it was a massive distraction from real, everyday suffering. And the cost, it was staggering. When you adjust for today's dollars, the Apollo program cost about $180 billion. At the time, the only thing taxpayers were spending more on was the Vietnam War. And here's something wild. Polls actually showed that a majority of Americans were against funding the mission. Reverend Ralph Abernathy, who stepped up to lead the civil rights movement after Dr. King's assassination, just broke that massive budget down to this simple, powerful, and absolutely gut-wrenching human equation. So on the eve of the launch, Abernathy led a protest right there at Cape Kennedy. They brought mules and wagons with them, really potent symbols of the rural poverty they were trying to shine a light on. And their demand was simple. Before we go reaching for the moon, how about we take care of people right here on Earth? This raw anger and feeling of being left behind was just captured perfectly by the musician Gil Scott-Heron. His poem, Whitey on the Moon, became an anthem. It contrasts this fantasy of space travel with the grim, brutal realities of life in so many communities. And, it wasn't just a poem. People really felt this. J.T. Johnson, who was at that protest, he put it so plainly. To him and so many others, the moonshot just felt like a project for a privileged white America that had absolutely nothing to do with their daily struggles for food and shelter. Okay, so while all of these protests are raging on a very divided Earth, something completely different, something profound was happening 240,000 miles away. The astronauts who saw our planet from the outside, well, they had an experience that would change them forever. I mean, just look at this single image, Earthrise. It's a perspective no human had ever had before. It was so much more than a picture. For the astronauts, it was a total revelation. There's actually a name for this. Psychologists call it the overview effect. It's this cognitive shift, this deep emotional response that a lot of astronauts report feeling when they see Earth just hanging there in the blackness of space. From that incredible distance, as astronaut Gene Cernan said, all the lines we draw on our maps, all the divisions that seem so important down here on the ground, they just vanish. You see one world, one whole. And for astronaut Rusty Schweickart, it wasn't just about seeing the world differently. It was about seeing yourself differently. He described how your personal identity just expands from your town or your country to the entire planet. You feel connected to everything and everyone down below. The experience was totally transformative. You hear astronauts describe crying unexpectedly, feeling this overwhelming connection to all of humanity, and realizing just how beautiful and incredibly fragile our planet really is. So, okay, we have these two powerful, conflicting perspectives, right? Division on the ground and a sense of unity from space. So, what was the tangible legacy of the Apollo program back here on Earth? Well, technologically, the benefits were immense. That massive investment led to thousands of inventions that are now just part of our daily lives. Everything from microwaves and satellites to the very foundations of modern computing. It literally launched whole new industries. But what about the social problems the protesters were highlighting? Well, NASA did make an effort. After the protest, it actually created an office to adapt space tech, like water filtration systems, for use in inner cities. But the outcome? These technologies, unfortunately, just failed to really make a dramatic difference in the lives of impoverished African Americans. And this brings us right back to the central tension of the moon landing. Was it this incredible triumph of human ingenuity? Or was it a tragic misallocation of our resources? The answer, it seems, is yeah, it was both. Maybe no one captured the lesson of the overview effect better than Carl Sagan. His famous description of Earth as a pale blue dot is this profound reminder that the view from far away inspires a deep sense of shared responsibility for this one home we all have. And that leaves us with the enduring question from 1969, one that is just as relevant today. That desire to explore, to reach for the stars, it's a powerful part of who we are. But so is the need to care for one another. The challenge then, and now, is figuring out how to do both. How do we find that balance?